Hi, I'm EllaAradia and welcome to your October 2025 Psychic Tarot reading. This reading is for my Taurus Earth signs, where we'll be exploring the overall energies and themes for the month ahead, as well as taking a deeper dive into how these might be playing out for you in your life. This is a general reading, so it's going to resonate a little bit differently for all of you. Although what I do find is there's always a shared theme that runs through the collective of all of you Taurus signs. So take what feels aligned to you and just leave the rest. And before we jump in, I just want to say a big thank you to all of you who are supporting my channel by liking and subscribing. So if you enjoy this reading and you haven't already done that, please do. It helps the channel out a lot. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe. Then you can get notified when the next videos are up. So Taurus, let's jump in. I'm already seeing a Two of Swords situation here, Taurus. Some kind of difficult choice or decision that needs to be made. It might be one that you're avoiding or one that you're having difficulty in making. And to me, it feels like a very significant choice. And it's the kind of choice I feel that in order for you to move forwards in some way, there is something that needs to be let go of. And with your overall energies, we have the Five of Cups, which does speak of, loss, emotional sadness, regret. It's often a card that shows up when, we get a little bit too focused on, what has been lost. And while it's important to, go through a process emotionally, mentally, spiritually of, whatever this loss is, whatever it is that has perhaps fallen apart or you've had to leave behind, it's really important to make sure that you don't get stuck. Like the figure in the card, they're facing the past, and what they're not seeing there is these two cups which are still standing, that there is something to be salvaged, there is a blessing of this situation. With every ending, it carries the seed of a new beginning. So it's really important to remember that, even though it might be a little bit of a challenging time. And in your recent past, we have the Eight of Wands. Some kind of action that was perhaps taken, something happening very quickly. The Eight of Wands is all about, swift action, momentum. It represents very often communication channels being open, messages coming in, things like that. And with your current energies, we have the Seven of Cups, a card of potential, possibility. Each cup has something different in it. And your feelings towards your situation, the Seven of Swords, I feel like this is a card about trust for you, Taurus, about trusting, what is unfolding here, trusting your path forwards. Now, it may have been a job that fell through or a home, like something to do with location here. And it may be a person that you're having to let go of. And when I feel into it, I do feel on your side there are a lot of regrets perhaps of, how things went down, how things came to an end. A lot of, going back over the past and a little bit being in this energy of, if you had perhaps done things differently, maybe things would have been different. And with the Seven of Swords, this is often a card of, strategy and, how you are perhaps navigating through this situation. But I really feel it's about just doing that with this energy of trust of what's unfolding for you here, Taurus. So what lies in your challenge, we have the Magician. And to me, being in the challenge position, I feel like this is a gentle reminder to let you know that you already have within you everything that you need moving forwards to create, what you really want in life, whether that is to do with career or, perhaps a new connection in love. Because this can speak of qualities as well, like self-worth and value and knowing what you deserve. But in terms of career, this is about, getting in touch with, your gifts and what you have to share, the experience that you have. And what lies in your hidden influence, we have the Ace of Wands. So an invitation here, Taurus, to really follow your heart, moving forwards. This is an invitation to have some kind of new beginning here, some kind of fresh start, and to take an action which I feel is an action that is going to come from your heart and from your inspiration, because that's definitely the energy I feel that you need to move forwards, rather than being in this energy of not trusting. Actually just get more connected to your heart and follow that spark of inspiration moving forwards. Because I do feel that you are standing on the edge of some kind of new chapter here, some kind of new beginning. And there's a little bit of a conflict that I feel where some of your energies are still held in the past. And in terms of love, I feel like this is someone that, you do still have feelings for, you do care about this person still. I feel like there's some history there. But when I feel into their energies, it's almost like there was this sense of you carrying the connection here, that somehow it was your responsibility to, for their happiness. And I do feel like you poured your heart into this person, and it's this feeling to me of, whatever you did, it just wasn't enough, because I feel like your person, that their happiness really does need to be found inside of themselves. So there's something that was, maybe a little bit codependent about this connection, but one that I do feel that, you weren't loved in the way that you needed to be. You didn't receive, what you needed from this person in terms of what you were putting into them. And there is this energy I feel of, carrying this connection. And the cost of that, of course, is, sacrificing your own happiness and your true, genuine needs here. And this may be a job that we're talking about, where, you're working really hard and you're putting your all into it, and you're just not getting that recognition, that acknowledgement. So there's something about whatever this loss is, that, even though, there are these emotional attachments and there's a bit of your heart still there with this situation or with this person, there is still something that feels a little bit, unhealthy in some way here for me. And with your advice from the universe, we have the Three of Swords. And it's interesting because I was just looking at that Five of Cups there and just thinking the challenge here is about letting go. And for some of you, it may even be, letting go of the illusions of whatever the situation was, letting go of the illusions of the potentials which were there, but they never really manifested. And when I see this Three of Swords here with the Five of Cups, that is the advice from the universe here, to let go of what is truly over and not be afraid to do that, and to really trust what's unfolding here. Because I do feel that this Ace of Wands is leading you on a different path now. And, you know, it's one that feels just much more expansive to me. And again, you know, when I look at this Three of Swords, it's about making sure the timing's right for that too. Because when I feel into your energies right now, it's like you're in between. I feel like there's some kind of new beginning, some kind of opportunity that may be in career, that may be a new love for some of you, but there's one foot in the past still. And of course, to let go involves, you know, dealing perhaps with some difficult emotions here, and, you know, going through some kind of process here. You know, because the Three of Swords, although it's a card of heartbreak, of separation, you know, emotional pain, it's also a card where, you know, if you think about, you know, heartbreak, you know, that energetic damage or those breaks in the heart are really where the light comes in, that brings in, you know, some kind of new beginning, you know, a better path for us to walk. And so it is a card of healing and evolving as well, even though it might be a little bit challenging. And what lies in your outcome, we have strength. So this is just a message, I feel, to let you know that you have what it takes. You have the courage to really get through this and take that next step. You know, when you're ready, you know, it's all a process. You know, it's so important to, you know, honor the feelings, allow ourselves to feel the feelings and process, you know, whatever, you know, loss that is. Let go of, you know, any of those potentials which were perhaps illusions on some level. And really just face, you know, whatever difficult emotions those are, fears, insecurities. Because at the same time, you know, with this Seven of Cups here, this is the point it leads you to a place of potential and possibility. And I really get the sense, you know, that the universe has, you know, brought in a little bit of a tower moment to really invite you to step into a new chapter in your life, to embrace a new path of some kind. So Taurus, I'm going to leave it there. If this reading resonated, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And as always, no matter what comes through in a reading, moving forwards, always trust what feels right for you. So thanks so much for being here, Taurus, and I wish you a great month ahead.